So, hi guys, I'm Dentark. It's now the second part of that 10-11 gateway against every race. And now I actually just continue on the last, completely on the last video. So what I'm actually doing right now is I actually try to fast forward a few things because there's not that much new like in the beginning. Can still talk about it, but don't be worried or too confused if the video in the game is always so fast. Okay, so let's start here because let us say in the last games we actually got to E rank and now we just want to go forward. Maybe we get to D rank and then we can actually see. And yeah, so now we can actually start and we go for the same build again. We will see. So that's why I actually just fast forwarded. This time, what I mentioned before was, like I said here, the mineral boosting, like that. That's what is it called? The probe on the top is not going to the top of the mineral patch. It's to the second top, and it should be actually a little bit faster than the other one. So that's one thing because we are on the minerals on the left side. So that's one thing to notice. So yeah, we have a Zerg. No, sorry. We have a Zerg, and yeah, so we have to check again if we got like really hard link pressure in the beginning or not, and then we have to check if we actually play into these masked goons. That's what we want to do. That thing was actually kind of strange. So I think that this guy actually just scouted way too early. So I was like, what? So because yeah, the difference is still Zerg needs the drones much more than the Protoss, and on the other hand they have the Overlords. Sure, they're quite slow, but usually I feel like that fast was really strange. I'm not sure, maybe could be normal, but sometimes it feels like it's sometimes too fast. And to be honest, when you are in that lower rank, I still think that's not really necessary to scout that early. So because my probe went to the top and I didn't see that drone there, so I have to assume it should be bottom right. So that's why I actually just sent him back to bottom right. I would be super confused if he wouldn't even top right. It means like he has to, what is it, like after the 8th drone or something like that. Not sure, it's just guessing right now when he actually started to scout. But okay, and now here we see, oh, it's a really early hatch. Yeah, that's what I thought. Like still no spawning pool, and because of that I just think, okay, why not just send that one salad in the beginning, send the other two salads too, and now we just, what is it, micro a little bit, and at the meantime still going for the gas. And here it's now we can go for a little bit of micro, because the difference here is still, it was not really super heavy micro or something like that. It was still only moving the salads a little bit far away. I could have gone for, like, you see that gap in the bottom with between the sunken and the hatchery. I think I could have placed all my salads there, would be fine. But because like I mentioned, I wanted to play on a lower APM, so it should be fine. And I'm just looking, oh, does he get even more links or not? So at this time I know that my free salads can't do anything anymore, and that's why we just let's go back, get the goons. And the funny part is now the goons popped out when this overlord came, so we can just safely go for the third gate. So he still doesn't know what we are doing, he just knows there are 2 gates, he got goons, that's pretty much it, but he still can't tell what's happening. That was just a little bit of micro, like, okay, killing that one scouting ling, that could actually help quite a lot, because now he doesn't know when we are actually going out. He just saw 3 salads going out, killing that thing, going back, and that's not a super big mathematical logic behind that. It was just, okay, I have 3 salads, and if I have 3 hits with salads, then they kill that ling quite easily. So he needed like a super good reaction. And right now it was just okay. I have a lot of goons. I have still the 3 zealots in the beginning, so I'm much better in a better position than before. He actually got delayed. He actually lost a few links. He didn't really lost that much, to be honest, but because the lack of the scouting and the early overload in the beginning, 400 APM, and the loss of the early overload, I think that actually put him much more behind than he actually wanted to. Sure, if you play like against super good players, I like it wouldn't mind. But the interesting part was he just thought, okay, I just get Hydras and then yeah, it should be fine. Okay, yeah, but still, if like Zergs would be going to super fast mutas or super fast mass links, speed links, then you should be dead usually when you go for mass goons. But that's what I mean. Like, I actually got really lucky that those guys actually went every time for Hydras. I don't know why. And it was still a good opening just to do something. So, or like to beat them. And here I actually play against a friend of mine. He's Protoss 2 now. That's the first Protoss that we actually encounter on the ladder. It's quite funny because usually when I play, then very often I have only Protoss against to play, but yeah, that's fine. So yeah, so I actually went for the same thing for 10 gate, 11 gate, and this time, if you can see, like, I actually pressed return just to make sure that I don't use the keyboard. And now I try to play only mouse only. Because I wanted to push my friend, and at the same time I wanted to but at the same time I still want to win. And if I only play mouse only and I try to leave if I still try to play as good, normally as good as I can, and with the same strategy like I mentioned before, that should actually work, because the opening is usually based against is the concept of this opening is against Protoss. So that's what Quark actually more or less like invented right now with this 10-11 instead of 10-12, whatever. But I just thought, like we mentioned before, I just want to get this into mass goon so we can actually practice that. So like you see, we actually saw there's some zealots, and mouse only is really difficult, so I thought, okay, let's just go back. 3 zealots are really good, and now we see no goon range, so we can assume that there's a possibility that he get DTs, and if he get DTs, then then we are dead. So it's kind of difficult, but we still try and just see what's happening, because like I mentioned, we are just focusing on this. And here's now one thing that I thought would be quite nice if my opponent would have actually tried to attack us. Because I feel like if he went with so many zealots, he could have had a chance to do something, especially on the lower levels. Sure, if you like S-rank, stuff like that, they're like 1 goon and shooting 6 zealots down, stuff like that. But here we actually have it's like 6 zealots, and I feel like if he micros those 6 zealots, it would be a good practice too. These 6 zealots against my 3 zealots on the ramp. I feel like he could actually beat that, because he actually needs only 1 zealot to kill, and he could actually run through, and then it would be really dicey. Because I thought like, oh shit, fighting against those many units really, really hard. So I just went for the same strategy again, just get these units and try to go out. Now I know, okay, there's a high potential that he's now on the high ground. Yeah, there it is. So we see it. And now I just go back, and I know he can't have that much more than I, so he should have less goons now, because I went for 3 gates, and I don't think that you can afford 4 gates on to like a 2 gate opening like this. So I should have at least a lot of units. And here, yeah, there it is. He has more zealots. The interesting part is right now, I think that he has the upper hand, because again, fighting against these many zealots with not really microing is really hard. So That's why I thought, oh shit, maybe just go back there, and maybe he goes with the other unit and tries to attack, but he just stayed there. And now because I have so much more goons, he actually runs away. I feel like he could have done some damage, but with some micro, like going back and shooting one seller after another, or if another goon is in range, just focusing on that other goon. I feel like with a little bit of micro, you could actually kill that easily. So maybe it was a good decision to go back. But I feel like if you would have seen that I have so many goons, I would have gone back much earlier, because you should know, oh shit, he actually went for mass goons, and I have so many salads in the beginning. But this, to be honest, is more like a B rank, maybe C rank knowledge thingy. So it's really difficult. I think he didn't do a bad job or something like that. It's really nice. Sure, I really have to admit, I really had to micro here, but I'm still below 100 APM. I still use my my mouse only, but I feel like he did at some part quite a good job. It looks like he actually just skipped some some probes and some stuff, so that's why he actually got a little bit less resources. And yeah, he went for those many salads for like no reason. Like, why do you do that? And the other part is, if you actually see the opponent has 3 salads too, I feel like because I even have that's the thing. I actually just I didn't want to upset him because he was because I wanted to do him a favor. So I thought, okay, because he knew that he played against me, and I think he was a little bit more or less like afraid. So I thought, like, hey, okay, how about I just give him the points? That's fine. But you saw you could actually win even with less than 100 APM and one hand, so it works even against something around. I feel like it was quite often 1,300, something like that. So it was not completely noob or something like that. But there's still a lot of potential that he could actually improve. Like I mentioned, he skipped maybe some probes, and the other part is, if you have the 3 zealots, you don't have to attack, especially in PvP. So you don't have to force yourself if you feel like, oh shit, because you have to think about it at the same time. While you're like forcing yourself to use these zealots and try to attack and try to kill something, then it's very, very likely that that you miss something what you try to build. For example, like the core, or what else could it be? Like we had a core, or maybe a pylon, stuff like that, or not a probe. So I feel like you don't have to. I think if I would have gone there and there would be some zealots too, then maybe I should have gone back. Would be fine. My probe could still scout him. The funny part here is now that build was really weird. As you can see here, he just went for like a 9 Nexus, something like that. It was like, what? And then in my pylon, I feel like it's fine that he actually tried something. That's what I like. But yeah, I feel like I feel like even if that actually would have worked, that he didn't die or something like that, he wouldn't be that far ahead, because he was so supply block for such a long time. And then I think, yeah, even if I would have seen it, then I get my next, I would have much more resources than him. So yeah, don't know. Okay, Eclipse again. We try to mineral boost on the top one. It's quite difficult, but we can still do that. We got our gates. This time, because we have a 2-player map and we know it's Zerg, yeah, because we know it's Zerg, so yeah, we could actually maybe go with the probe and watch if he goes for like a 9 pull, stuff like that. It's true, but or maybe for a 12 hedge, and then we know, oh, okay, maybe we just attack right now. But like I mentioned, this build is not for we kill our opponent with the first zealots. It's more about we're getting the goons and trying to kill him with that. So yeah, so I feel like you're like on a 2-player map, just try that. So that some stupid stuff can still happen, like for example, if you're like against other Protoss, they maybe go for an inside pylon thingy, stuff like that. So maybe you can. That's what I sometimes do. Just walk to the left side and just check if there's no inside stupid gateway, something like that. But we are now against Zerg. He went with only 1 Ling, so I assumed that he maybe went for overpull or something like that. Want to be safe, so he didn't want to risk anything, because he doesn't even use his overlord, I guess. So okay, we see a lot of Lings right now. Okay, like semi-core many, it's like 8. But the funny part is he didn't scout us, isn't it? I'll have to check that, but I was quite confused that he actually already got a lot of Lings. But I feel like it's good for us too, because he already invested in Lings. And now, to be honest, what I did there is not like a super, oh, the only programmers do that, that's so super advanced thing. No, it's just, I have the Zealots, he has some Lings. Maybe I just send my few Zealots behind the mineral lines, and then he has to check how to deal with that, because the only unit that can shoot behind that are the what's it called, the Hydras, and then he has to make a sunken, even if it's like not necessary sometimes. So he needs to build that sunken. He loses 1 drone and mineral time, whatever, so that's quite good for us. The only thing that I'm now a little bit afraid is I don't know if he has gas. I'm not quite sure what he actually built, but I think it wasn't a 12 Hutch. And because he went for so many Lings, I feel like, okay, we need at least a few more Zealots, and we can still use them, because sometimes we don't have the gas and whatsoever, so that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. There's the Overlord, so kind of confusing. Yeah, so that is something what I feel like it's really difficult to play against Zerg, because very often it's like they just get so many units in the beginning, or sometimes at any time, and then you feel like, oh shit, he has already 30 Hydras, whatever, and then it's like, fuck, how can you actually deal with them? But that's a thing. I feel like in every matchup it's like the same. You have to check what your opponent has, and the difference is still going for non-tech for whatever and getting a lot of units is really easy. I feel like if you get to C ranks, something like that, and you get still just going for mass units, you can still even beat A ranks with that. It's like if they didn't see that correctly or miscalculated something, you just, for example, PvP, you go for free gates and just go, and then you can actually win with that. So that's quite common to do that. Sure, like the better the opponent is, the better he can observe that and whatsoever. And now I just knew, okay, or like here against Zerg, the thing was, he had so many Lings in the beginning, like not super huge, but he had at least 14, 16, stuff like that, wasn't it? Like 8 in the beginning, and then some more there, and then he lost some, so at least of like 10, 12 Lings for sure. He lost now 2 Overlords in the beginning, because I just saw them, I thought, okay, the only hyper micro thing that I had to do is like clicking right a few times, like spamming this, like, okay, sorry, it's not much more that I can do. That was like a pro gamer move. I just went with 1 going behind. So, you see what I mean? It's like I'm still below 100 APM, and right now I just move those goons a little bit behind or a little bit over there and whatsoever, and I'm still at low APM, and it still works. So you can still do something. And our opponent didn't know what we were doing, and he just thought, okay, hey, let's get Hydras. And that's the result. So we actually watched that here. Okay, I didn't scout what kind of hedge he actually went for, but look here, he didn't scout completely. He went for like, oh, is he maybe proxying or something like that? He went for a really greedy third, even that he didn't know what we were doing. And the funny part is, if you're like in this position and I actually just try to pressure with 3 Zealots, I feel like he could have been so much more ahead. So we have now 21 to 15, 16 workers, so that's quite good for him. So he actually catches more and more up. But the difference is still, he has to compensate now about what I'm doing and what he's doing. So right now I feel like he could be actually ahead, because he could build with the third hatchery much more drones. And if my opponent would have done much better, then I would have lost for sure, because he went for mass links and then he could counter me whatsoever. But now he's like, oh shit, I don't want to lose everything, so he just builds a lot of Sunkens everywhere. And I feel like, okay, good, if you have Sunkens over there. I didn't know that, but if he invested money for those salads, these Sunkens, what could have been like at least, what is it, like, one drone is 50, Sunken is something like, say, 75, something like that, and then you have to, like the Spore, and then no, 10, nearly 1,500. Yeah, but that could have been at least 20 links or something like that, and if he would have had like 20 speed links and he would have attacked, it would be a lot, so he could kill my Kunz with that. But yeah, that's like the decision making. He just knows he knows that he should build Hydras or something like that, even that he doesn't know what he's doing. And that's what I'm talking about, that I feel like it's so much more about knowing in this game, that you know why you do something like that, and going for a build like that is just focusing on something. So I feel like everyone can just go for that and just okay, just getting my goons, getting my sellers, just attack and whatsoever, so it's fine. And then you can just focus on something, and you still have quite good success rate. So it's not really every time I do that I will lose for sure, but you should actually, like exactly against Tavern, you should actually lose, I feel like. But yeah, so there's still a chance. And if you want to improve like your knowledge and something like that, I feel like sure, that's why you have all this Discord and CPL and whatever, so I feel like that's really, really great. But at the same time, I still feel like if you go for all these basics, like what did I invest my money in, what did he invest his money in, then you can actually play more secure about things. I will talk about that later again, what I mean. So we have now here that 1,500 Terran. Not sure if like this bunker was really necessary, not sure. But yeah, I feel like at this time he did a really good, it was really good, because I just sent those solids inside and to kill a few SCVs. I think if you have like a good micro and whatever, you could have actually gone to the top and killing the gas and try to harass some SCVs and whatsoever. But that was not the point. I feel like if you're not really good at that micro, maybe you should there's a high chance that you should actually go back with those salads and save them, because free salads are free salads and they can still do damage in the beginning. Why I actually attacked there was just I knew he can't have mines. And the only thing that I should be afraid of is if he's like walking around with the vulture and going inside. But the thing is, because maybe we can see that later again, he built that factory. He built a factory next to that bunker, so he can't have a machine shop right now. He can only have marines and vultures, but not even upgraded vultures. So that takes a little bit of time. So that's why I thought, okay, I can actually go now instead of waiting. And I feel like that actually helped me a little bit, that he can't get his CC right now. So that's fine. There it is. There's the vulture. I still left those goons over there. And that's what I mentioned, because if you would have speed vultures or mines already, then there's a high chance that I walk with the goons up there and I all die. And it's like, no. So, but now I feel like, okay, I have now a lot of goons. I went for frigate. I would just try to attack, and let's see what's happening, what we can actually do. And this is actually, to be honest, the that was actually a mistake to sacrifice those many goons for nothing, and that's why that actually doesn't work. But yeah, I feel like yeah. To be honest, that was that game when I actually realized, oh, okay, that doesn't work as well. We can try, but if you saw like 2 siege tanks, a few marines, that it's enough to block 8 goons or something like that. Like the fuck, maybe if you go for a better micro whatsoever, then it could work. But just A moving doesn't work. So that's why I actually thought about, okay, the next time I actually just get my shuttle, get a few zealots inside just to bomb that. If I would have had that, then would have been a different story. To be honest, I feel like he in this game, I should have just left the game because he can actually go now even without the bunker. So he has now a second base too without any hesitation. And I thought like, okay, he goes now super greedy. He gets that third here. So there's like a chance that I can just crush him. And on the other hand, it's not really correct to play like this, because my game like this was, okay, I just thought maybe I just get only goons and zealots and try to play that the whole time. But it doesn't work. It's like, oh shit, could have been maybe different. Yeah, and he goes now for that drop. I feel like the drop wasn't really that successful, and at the same time I thought, oh, maybe I can actually kill him. But yeah, those tanks are just too strong. You saw like 2 shots, it's killing them. Like, whoa, what a shit. Yeah, so I feel like he did quite a good job on that, so it was nice, it was fine. But I still got really annoyed when people get so greedy and can still win, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, you saw like you can actually still do a lot of things even with like 110 APM. If I would have played normally and better, then I could have saved everything, I guess, or more at least. That my units didn't die, and maybe I just could have brought them back and whatsoever. Then I would have been in a much better position. But yeah, I feel like that should be now what's it called, like a like a lesson for me, that I feel like, okay, hey, you know what? Now it feels more and more just a stressful game. It's, in my opinion, even more and more just a waste of time. Yeah, I know you can still go for, hey, I just still want to win that and I want to do whatever. And if I win that, it would be nice because I have a good comeback. But I feel like that I'm now really far behind. I thought maybe I can do something because now I saw he has now his CC and whatsoever. But the funny part is still, and that's another part, if you want to play like this now, and even if you're not behind, now you could have played a little bit different. I hate this shit. For example, what I feel like in situations like this, or even if you try to play like a normal game with scouting or whatever, I think you should focus on something like this. Like, how can I actually get now my 4th? Because I want to get my 4th at least like a minute ago or something like that, and that's huge. And because I got Destructor, because of that shitty vulture there, where was staying there for the whole time. Now all these vultures are coming there too, so that's now a lesson for me too, that I feel like, okay, I should have gotten at least like a gateway there just to block that. So that would be like one part that I should have improved. And he was like, oh, what the fuck? Like all these goons are just dying there, so what? And the other part would be, I should have scouted more what he was doing. I should be fine that he actually got his 3rd, and later I saw that he had that 4th on the 12 o'clock much earlier, so there was like no way that I can actually win this unless I can play like super whatever. So, but yeah, so it was like a really desperate thing to do something, and I feel like that stresses you more out than it actually should. And at the same time, you know what, if you're that far behind, why not leaving the game, just give a fuck and play another game. So I feel like I actually checked my replays, and I had so many games below 10 minutes because I could just A move later. And if I wouldn't have just wasted now my time here, because he just really won and I couldn't do anything. So yeah, you see, like, even the mineral, even he had more resources than I had. So we check here. I think if you just pressure yourself too much sometimes in the situations like this, it's not really healthy and it's not really fun. So I would have suggested, okay, you know what? My first attack there, you see I have even less probes than he has SCVs. The supply was nearly the same. And here you see, even when I crushed the other one, he gets now this 4th over there. I don't know, he gets a 4th, okay. But still, it's like he was still far ahead, because the first initial push, or even my first 3 salads, just didn't do shit. So and because of that, it just went only down and down and down and down. So it wasn't really worth it. But at the same time, you can still learn something from it, like, oh, how can I actually see what my opponent is doing. At least I knew that guy just wanted to expand. That was something that I could see. It's like, always he wanted to expand until he get like a huge army, and then he goes, and that's what actually happened. And yeah, the other part is, because of the 2 gates, you can't get like the super fast observer just to scout what Terran is doing. So and that's what I mean. It's like, that's one reason why this build shouldn't really work unless you can really what's it called, like, surprise your opponent and then you kill him. But yeah, but usually it shouldn't work like this, because your opponent can actually see that and whatever. So now I thought, okay, now I play a little bit better than last time. So, but still, here you see, here it's just only a move, and not completely wow, I went for a hyper multitasking thing and super fast, stuff like that. It's just, okay, now I just go for a move, killing here. And I'm just watching. Now I'm just watching, because I just want to show that that still works, and at the same time you can still do other shit, like building another pylon or whatsoever. I think that pylon could have been much earlier, so, but I know it sounds fine, because I got the other pylon. Okay. And at the other time the salads will die, so you actually lose some supplies. It will be fine. So at the same, and here that was actually really important to kill that SCV, because now that SCV just knows, okay, you don't have a an expansion, so there's a high chance that you go maybe for something all-inish, maybe, or some other pressure stuff. So that's something that he should know, but he doesn't know what's actually happening. He doesn't know if I get goon range, or maybe I go for DTs. So he is now guessing, and he has to gamble now. I feel like he has to gamble much more than he wants to. That was a good catch. So we saw, okay, shit, the vultures are outside, and oh fuck, I think, yeah, I didn't expect the vultures have mines already, but on the other side, I saw in the beginning that machine shop. So I think I underestimated him. I thought, like, hey, he will never be able to do that, like getting the mines already and something like that, and then scouting. But that was a really good move. This one, I feel like I could have a block there, because if you're fast and whatsoever, and you know they are coming, and you could have maybe go for, okay, they're going in the beginning, and then always start a step backwards, something like that, and you just block the entrance, so he still knows, okay, he doesn't have an expansion. There should be like a pressure. Now he knows there's a robo, so there's no DTs are coming, something like that. So he has an advantage, because actually he saw everything that I was doing, and everything I was doing was just getting a robo, 3 gates, and if I go for something like that, that usually means, okay, I actually try to pressure. Sure, there's still a possibility that I just skip building goons, something like that, and then get my expansion. But at the same time, he still saw, okay, there is no expansion. Maybe a hidden expansion, but then he could have tried to scout that, so stuff like that. And I think what he could have done would be, I know, get some settlers. What he could have done would be getting like siege, getting some mines, getting your natural, and try to play very safe. And at the same time, maybe one SCV is like going to my 6 o'clock or something like that, or maybe even watching the other parts. Yeah, as you can see, I still don't have a an expansion, so I'm still going for a really pressure style, and my opponent should actually know that. So that's what I mean. It's like, if you don't know what your opponent is doing, or even if you see it and you don't know what he's doing, it's not good. So it's so much about knowing something, and then I feel like it's a lot more about execution, like how good is your micro and whatsoever. And if you don't know what you can do and whatsoever, then I feel like, okay, that's why you lose. So, and here for the example is, okay, I thought there's a high chance that there are the tanks, so I just shoot those things down. I don't go for super hyper micro, but I build with 5 and 6 like a few more units. Another thing is, I saw, okay, there is nothing. We just micro a little bit the silos there just to attack the tanks. And the thing is, okay, we have no money for more gates, usually we shouldn't. But now the thing is, it looks like he doesn't have siege or something. So, and now we actually go for a little bit more micro, and that's like moving our goons inside. Because the thing is, if we just attack, they just try to kill that, and if there are 2 tanks and trying to siege, then we're in a big enough pickle. But the funny part is, that guy, he knew that we have a high potential, that we are going for another high pressure thing, maybe all in or something like that. But that guy was like, you know what, I just built a lot of turrets, or some turrets, get a few marines, and 1-2 tanks, not even siege them, stuff like that, and I still go for my natural, and then it's fine. So, and I feel like, what? Did you actually scout what I'm doing? So, yeah, and that's what I mean. So, it's really important to know what your opponent is investing in, and or what he could have actually. So, for example, Serkan just built Inspire, and he doesn't have to go for mutas. He maybe can build 3 mutas, depends what he wants to do. But that is something I feel, what I feel like that can be really difficult. And here, that's like really a good example why I feel like people. That's what I want to check. If it would be much better just to go for like the entrance blockage, because look, even if I'm going for 1 base and still producing probes, and he went for earlier second thing, and I went just with the 3 zealots inside and attacked him. He got hit with against 3 zealots. He lost so many SCVs that he got fucked up. It's so funny. It's just 3 SCVs, 3 zealots, and they do so much damage. So what? Yeah, that's why I feel like you should, in lower levels, you should maybe still go for that blockage in the beginning, stuff like that. So, like that wall that they can't really attack. That could actually work, but yeah. Yeah, and here now it's our really first higher PvP. Like I mentioned, that is a PvP build. That's like it's built for that. And now we can actually check if it works for our against the C rank. I feel like it was a high C rank, even close to B. So we can check how it works. And now we have the situation, okay, we scouted, but we scouted him last, but at least he's close position, and because he's close position, yeah, we have faster there and can kill him or something like that. So there's a high potential that we can kill him. Okay, there are 3 zealots. It looks like that he went for 2 gates too. At that situation, like I mentioned, you could try to beat him, something like that. but it's really hard, so I wouldn't really recommend that. The other part would be maybe sending our probe there too, because now the question is he going for the same thing as we do, or is he going for that 5 salads into Nexi? Now he actually comes in with 2 probes for some reason. Sure, as you can see, I actually got up a little bit with my APM just to see which salads are actually damaged and whatsoever. But you saw it even that I didn't go for hyper crazy goon micro or something like that, I could still do that. And I think he actually saw the 3 gates, not sure. And yeah, so I think that actually put me ahead, because he lost a lot of units for no reason at all. So sure, to be honest, the difference was he thought that I am like a low era guy, something like that. But to be honest, I still do the same thing. It's not that I went for something different, or I just out my Grimo got bullying him and stuff like that. So yeah. So the thing was, now I saw he got some goons too. It doesn't look like that he goes for something crazy like goons and DTs. Not sure. Difficult to say sometimes. But right now it's a question, okay, what do we do? The difference here, and it's like map dependent, is we had some exchange. He lost some units, and because he lost those units in the beginning and didn't lose that much, I have the advantage of having more units in the beginning. And because of that mineral only there that we have here, we have the advantage of the high ground, and it's really, 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 really hard to attack there and do things. Sure, there are builds like get only 23 probes or something like that, and then you get Reaver and something like that in the attack. But we actually just got our Nexi. I just microed a little bit our goons. I was still producing goons, and I get only more goons and observers. So I didn't go for, oh, you need now Reaver attack, something like that. So our opponent just thought, hey, we have to attack. And now we have to do some decision, and that is like, oh, we have to regroup and then we attack. Usually, if I would have played better, then maybe I would have gone up the ramp, or maybe on the right side and go up the ramp and then try to attack him from there, something like that. But I just want to show you that you can still do something, at least if you're going always for, okay, can I actually attack? Is it a good idea to attack right now? So to be honest, I was not sure at that time. Now I'm sure, because you can see he has, and there it is, he has no Nexi. I have Nexi. And if you don't feel like confident enough to do the pressure and attack and whatever and so on and so on and so on, and especially when it's like really close like a close combat, and it's like a really close fight, then maybe you shouldn't attack, because the thing is, like, he is under pressure because I got the Nexi. And he gets the Nexi only now, so he is under a lot of pressure. He went for more or less like the same thing that I went for, but the difference is now, how could he actually lose that? So, like I mentioned, I didn't do anything specific that actually led to, oh yeah, that you can only do that if you're A rank or stuff like that. No. So, as you can see here, I actually got ahead now only a little part of with my probes, so I'm just a little bit ahead. He went for earlier scout, so I got a small advantage about my resources. He got the what's it called, the scouting information, but he lost this his probe there. So that's, you see, I didn't do anything. It's like one salad, attacking, attack move, dead probe, bang, 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 to dead. And I was like, okay, I didn't do anything else, so he had to invest now, whatsoever. Yeah, and now we can see I'm a little bit ahead, just slightly. The difference is still, I don't know what he's doing. that is something. But he knows what I'm doing. But my core already finished, so my tech is earlier. I have, okay, now we have the same amount of probes again, but it was still a little bit more probes than he had all the time. I have already dragoons, and now he attacks there. And after that fight, he actually doesn't build any more probes. Now there's a lack. There's a lack of at least 3 probes, and now it actually advances to 8 and 7. So that means he's actually more or less all in right now. And maybe he doesn't know, but he has so much money. If he would have used all that money maybe on another gate and get more units, then he could have won that. But I feel like, and that is something that's really strange. If he would have gone for another maybe another gate, getting a few more goons, something like that, and he should actually crushed me, because I had invested so much money now in Naxai and probes and so on. So he should actually have won that. So I feel like because he actually didn't produce all the time and he lost the units in the beginning, that's another thing too. Yeah. So I think he actually put himself much more behind than he actually wanted to. And I feel like it was just a lot about underestimating your opponent, because you feel like, I'm 400 MR higher than him. And actually something like that happened to me quite often too, that I played against the C rank and he was really C rank, something like that. So and then I lost against some like an early push. It was not even a 2-fac or something like that, but I lost against it, so can happen. And here it's now against this one, I feel like there's not that much to say, because yeah, it's now a 1200 MMR Terran. The only difference is still, okay, he I didn't expect that it's like not tied, so it's like, okay, then if it's not tied, then just walk over there and attack, and now we can do our stuff. That's pretty much it, unfortunately. So I feel like that's not that much that we can actually talk about. So I feel like we can skip that part, but yeah, I want to talk more about that PvP thing. So like I mentioned, so that opponent was nearly B rank, but he actually didn't go for more probes, and that actually cost him the game, because he just thought, okay, yeah, my opponent is only E rank, I can beat him. But the thing is, if even the E rank knows how to build units, then you just can't walk over him. The difference is still, for example, you can only do a freaking ton of damage only if you have something like 5 goons against 5 goons, and if you go for like, okay, those 5 goons are shooting now that one down and that one down and that one down and that one down and that one down with like 2 volleys, then you can do something. Then you can do something, but not really with. There's a high ground, and there are 3 salads at least. There are at least 3 salads, and there should be other units coming. So, and if you see the other part, what he could have done is like, he walks there, tries to attack, and then he says, oh, there are too many units. Okay, just go back. We'll be fine. Because what was his game plan? I just get a few sellers and try to attack him and kill him with that. So because I'm a much better player. No. That wasn't his game plan originally. I feel like. I think that if he would have played against a better opponent, maybe he went, or at least the same skill level, then maybe he went for, okay, let's play into a fast and exile and then get more goons and kill him with a lot of goons or something like that, because I feel like he doesn't play with Reavers a lot. Yeah, so there's a difficult part sometimes, but I really assure, don't think always, oh, my opponent is just too hard, I can't beat him. And the other part is, oh, that guy is just a fucking noob, I just crush him. So just try always respect both. Because if you get too overconfident, stuff like that, you feel like I can just kill him with a move, stuff like that, and you later say, oh shit, those tanks just killed everything, stuff like that. And for example, here, my opponent was already so much distracted with the first 3 salads, I guess, that I just got now a shuttle, 3 zealots, goons, go. And now I got my exile. And he didn't even really finish his CC. So I just asked myself, where are his units? So it's not about only if you're super good you can do that, stuff like that. No, it's like, what? I didn't do something specific. It's just getting a few units and an attack. So it wasn't something really special. So it's kind of shame sometimes that those people just don't build the units all the time, and then at the same time they don't have the tech, and they don't have whatever. It's like all these things are lacking, and then everyone is like, yeah, Protoss so easy, or Starcraft so easy, whatever. Sure, at some part I feel the same like that. For example, I still feel that Sorc has such a, even in later games, it's so or like in higher rank games, whatever, that Sorc has so many opportunities, especially against Protoss. Like, you just make Hydras, and you have a huge threat that you can kill your opponent with just Hydras, and at the same time, your opponent has as a Protoss, you have to sometimes to guess if he's attacking or not or whatsoever, and it's so hard. I feel like, because there's like, you have 10 Hydras and they can kill you, and then you build too many cannons and then you lose because of that. It's like, and I think that's so difficult. That's really difficult to manage. But I think in the beginning, there's so much more just about getting the fundamentals correct, and then all these how to use your units, and then even how to react to a few things. Because like, the more you know, the more you know about the game, the much better you get, the much more you can actually react to things. Oops, not like yeah, like you can see here now, it's again the same thing. I just microed a little bit. The only thing that I microed was actually I had to attack the SCV, and later it's now a move again, or just focusing on the SCVs. He can't do anything anymore, so now he just dies because of that. Okay, I got a little bit up with the, I think it was lagging or something like that. Can't remember anymore. I feel like it was like a game or something like that. That's why I actually got 130 APM, stuff like that. And I feel like it was really laggy, and that's why I thought, hey shit, I just want to end this. It's so annoying. Yeah, I just tried to attack because I saw, you know what, there's no machine shop, so he shouldn't have mines or speed watches, something like that. So that's the funny part. He got marines and vultures, and now I feel like, oops, oh, that's not good. So just let's go back, because we can't lose an exile, but we can lose our units, and that's really important. And now, okay, the thing is, shit, we can't just kill him, but that's not the thing. The question is, am I ahead or am I not ahead? So who's ahead here? And I feel like that I'm still ahead, because I didn't get any economical damage, except you counted in that I went for this 3-gate robo style instead of getting an exile earlier, something like that. But at the same time, Terran didn't get an early CC neither, so that means he has to have less SCVs than I do. And if he has more than I, then it means that I did a terrible job at getting those probes the whole time. So that's one thing. And like I mentioned, like I saw before, okay, now we go for a shuttle. We need an observer, because there's a high chance that there are mines everywhere. And that's another part now. Now we can actually try to learn that, how to deal with these mines. Because if you play later, it would be much better just to say, hey, you know what? I get now an observer, 2, 3, maybe 4 goons, something like that. And now I just swipe all those freaking mines on the whole map. And if I do that, then then the Terran doesn't know what I'm doing, so he has to always scan, stuff like that. That would be something that you can focus on too. Here again, now I thought, oh, he should actually have a siege tank there, or not, so he is not a siege tank anymore. And you see, I'm always like walking with the shuttle, so it wasn't like, oh yeah, I built so much things at the same time. And that's the point now. He thought, okay, now I can actually siege there, and now I get those 4 salads on time, and now we just attack move there. Fine. We now there's a position now that we know, okay, we're in a good position because there are 4 tanks that should actually just die. And that's pretty much it. So we just saw, okay, they should die, and then we don't need to over micro that now. So that's something that you can learn here too, just to know when should I attack and when not, and when should I actually focus on micro and when not. And you see here now, there's after that 3 salad attack, we had a 8, what is it, like 6 until 8 worker difference, and that actually led to this outcome here. Like really, okay, that he had so, nearly nothing later, and that's why we could actually win. Oh, whoops, that was like a little bit bad of, I think that was a little bit bad, how I actually cut it then, but it's okay. I think there was another Terran again, stuff like that. But it doesn't matter, we go for the same build. It would be funny if we would have had random, but it's fine. Like today I actually played against the 1900 or something like that. So like, there was a random guy who actually had 1850, something like that. And I went Terran again. So I went for that build. And the funny part was I actually beat him. So sure, it was not that I went for free gate after that, but I went for 3 salads, harassed him, and then I went for expansion, and then in the late game I could have beaten him. So it was quite funny, it was quite nice. So maybe his Terran was not his main race, but yeah, who knows. It's not my fault that he plays random and gets Terran. So we wait for the 3 salads and so on. What I mentioned earlier was if you feel like that this thing here, or this build, you can actually play like really, really smooth, like without that much of cutting probes unintentionally, like skipping probes. I call it skip because a cut is really that you want to cut those those probes for a reason. But if you wanted to build and it didn't work, then it's, from my opinion, it's a skip. Like you skip some probes and unintentionally, or like you skip probes, and that's why you actually get behind. Funny part is now we see, okay, he goes for that 2 factory. Because of that he has less marines, and now he's so busy and overwhelmed with my attack there. And like you saw, I was just watching that attack. I didn't do anything. It's like I was just aim moving there, and now they're just attacking. It's like, just attack, don't do anything, just attack and just watch them attack, and then you can still do damage. And then I thought, okay, sorry, but after that we just end this now. So we can still get probes, we still get the 3rd gate and whatsoever, but we can actually attack now. I feel like there's still no machine shop, so no worries about any mines right now, so we can still attack, that's fine. There it is. No robo, get robo now, and then maybe a gate, something like that. So it was a while ago that I played that, but it's fine. So now you see, okay, it's over now. So it's now just so much time that he actually, they wasted here a little bit, but it's fine. Yeah, you see, not even 100 APM, kids still win this. So now we are really close to D rank. So that was it. That was pretty much it. Like I mentioned, with this build you can still try to focus on this microing stuff, getting your stuff, and if you get this stuff you can actually even beat higher ranks with that. So it's possible, and especially when you know how to go for this style. Like I mentioned, against Protoss, getting goons, if necessary, even robo with observers, so we don't die for later DTs or something like that. If he goes straight for DTs, we are dead, but if he goes for later DTs, we can survive. Then other part is against Terran, we need like a robotics with zealots because we can't attack on the top to kill those tanks. But yeah, and then against Zerg, we actually, if the opponent didn't go for Mars Links or Mars Mutas, stuff like that, we can just get the goons and attack. So it's quite fine. So it's still necessary. And like I mentioned, even if you play later, you can still go for, okay, maybe I go now for how to deny scouting from my opponent. Example, killing observers in PvP, killing overlords or even some links or drones, depends, in PvZ, killing all these mines in PvT, close gaps in PvT too. So, and that's just everything that you can do with this build too if it actually goes for a later game. But in the beginning, it's really good to know how to mineral boost, get the gates in a really good time, get the salads in a really good time. So, because that is like a basic mind thing that you have to think about, that if you think about that all the time, like, oh, I need these gates in time, I need these units in time, like this relative timings should be in time. For example, you get that robotics, and if the robotics finishes, you get that observatory. And if you get that observatory even like 5 seconds later than you actually could have, that's like 5 seconds that it needs longer than you get your observer. And then you need that observer, and if the observatory is finished and you didn't still build an observer, then even there's at least 5 or 10 seconds delay on your observer. And that actually means, yeah, 10, just think about it, like 10 seconds can actually make this huge difference about, did I actually get inside the base easily or not? That's the difference. And that's why I feel like focus on that. Next video I will maybe talk a little bit more about how to check with the resources and to scout, because I think that I have one game against the B rank Protoss too. And yeah, as you can see, we actually got really far with that. And sure, because you're better and whatever, it's like you can adjust that a little bit better. But it wasn't really like I bullied someone, it was super difficult to execute or something like that. It was still a lot about, I just knew how to deal with that, or how and build stuff on point, and it actually helped with low APM. Okay, hope that helped. And then I will work on the third part, and I think the third part is the last one. Okay, so thank you for tuning in. See you next time.